Excuse me. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the stream. So I'm just waiting for everybody else to show up. This is going to be for the animation talk, the Let's Talk. But I think for the time being, I'll at least go ahead and looks like we're hold on a sec. Looks like we're good. Yo, what's going on?
Trying to see if that'll. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Which mic is it coming in off of?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, all right, cool. All right, cool. Well, welcome back. I don't know if the other guys are gonna be able to make it. I put it in the group chat. I know one or two were saying that they couldn't make it because of something, so that's cool. We'll just keep rocking it. Let me just put my screen down. Actually, you know what? I'll keep it up for a moment. Just let me kind of get set up a little bit here. I might do some drawing or something while we're talking. But all right, welcome back, everybody. This is Let's Talk. I think the subject today is underrated anime. I put slash manga as well, just so I could, we could bring some other little things in there that might not be animes. Cover the whole spectrum. I'm your boy. I am cartoons. You know what I do, cartoons and all that kind of stuff on here. We got my cousin Freddie, Closet of Anime. If you want to plug anything that you have going on.
Yep. So Closet the Anime, I mostly do a lot of YouTube shorts, focused around anime that I'm currently watching or have watched previously, and and I do some manga reading as well, and I'll try to highlight any manga or manhwa that I'm watching.
And actually, so before we actually get started into too much, can you go a little bit deeper into the manhwa? I think I don't know if that's a term that is as maybe that's a little bit underrated, just right off bat into the subject, right? I don't know if people really know what that entails versus a manga or anime. What's the difference between that? If you could actually describe that for me a little bit.
Yes. So the manga, uh, just the term for the animation, that's Japanese, of Japanese origin. So when you think of manga, you're thinking um, mostly Japanese animations. Um, then you have your manhwa with the W, and then you have your manhwa with the U. So that's going to be MANHWA and MANHUA. And those are the different um, animated animations from Chinese and Korean origins, and so there is slight, well, not slight, but there are some basic theme differences that you'll pick up when reading the different styles. I've noticed a lot of the Chinese animations. They use a lot of uh, their leveling system is based around like key energy and uh, the yin and the yang, and you know, leveling up through different martial statuses, martial ranks. Um, and you'll see like different art styles. They have different theme differences. So it's things that you pick up on that the differences and the honorifics that are used amongst the characters.
Hmm.
You'll pick up on some of that, and usually if you don't catch it with the art differences, you'll catch it with the naming scheme of the characters or with the centralized plot differences.
Hmm.
So once you started reading a bit of uh, animation or the printed version, the either the manga or the manhwas,
Hmm.
um, you can figure the differences out amongst them.
Hmm. Um, so just so I understand a little bit more too, I see solo level. I just typed in what you were saying, manhwa. It's like solo leveling came up. Would that be considered one?
Yep,
Okay.
solo leveling for sure. It's
Um,
the big one out.
that's the big one. I want to come back to that one. Let me ask you another one. What about the God of High School? Is that considered? Have you have you heard of that one?
Yes, yes. I've watched The God of High School. Does it have a uh, manga form?
Yeah. Uh huh.
Okay, I haven't read it. I've only
Yeah.
watched the anime.
I read this one when it first came out. Um, and I think I got, man, it was years ago. I think it was like 2017, maybe 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember like the first part. You probably know more than I do at this point because I haven't read it in so long. I do remember. Well, let's just jump right into this. I mean, we're already on it. I think this is probably an underrated one, if I'm going to say for a manga slash
Okay.
anime right off bat. Um, I read this all the way up until like maybe what chapter is it on now? I think I
Oh,
have.
it's still going?
I don't know. See, I mean, underrated, right? It's not taken as seriously. The God of High School, 571. Wow.
Okay. Wow.
So I stopped reading it probably around 200 or 300. It was a while ago. It was like 2017. Was it even that far? Yeah, yeah. It had been like 200.
Mm-hmm.
It was still pretty fresh. But anyways, um, I don't know if I'm spoiling. I don't know where it's at in the anime, but I remember. So it begins off.
In the anime, it stops off really early.
Oh, you said it what really early?
Yeah, it's only got one season in the anime.
Okay. Um.
And I think it stops off where you see that he's kind of got the circlet comes around his head,
Yeah.
and you start to see he has, I don't know, either he's the reincarnation or he has close uh, divinity with Wukong,
Yep.
and yeah, yeah, it's in a battle where he first like gets that little circlet um, around his head,
Yeah.
and that I feel like is just like as far as it went in the animation, and no
Interesting.
season two in sight.
Okay. So I do remember, like you said, he is like the reincarnation of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, which is used in so many stories.
Mm,
Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball as his predecessor, One Piece. Almost every prominent series has a Wukong influence to it. But basically, it's like a tournament of these high school kids. It's him, this girl, this other guy. I forget why, but they team up to fight in this like tournament thing. There's this big overarching enemy that's like this religious dude, this old priest dude, but he has like superpowers to do something.
hmm
Um, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening. People have powers and they can fight with the stuff. Um, this is very vague, but I remember the last parts I was reading, there was like another dimension or something they were fighting in, and Wukong he learns one of the Sun Wukong powers from the actual story, Journey to the West story, in one of his transformations. Like he can pull a hair out and make a copy of himself. He learns how to do that, and he can also heal too. He can like use pressure points to like poke you in certain places to heal or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And so I think they get trapped in two different dimensions, and Sun Wukong is stuck in the other dimension. But before he gets stuck in there, he uses one of his hairs to make a copy of himself. So for that part of the manga where it was at, he was gone forever. And, you know, not forever, but it's like, we can't find him. We can't get him back. And so in the time that they're trying to figure out how to get him back, they have his copy. And his copy is like almost like a newborn. He's like, I have no memories up until this point. I'm not your original, but I'll do everything I can to still be your friend or whatever. And he had to almost like relearn his powers over. And it got to the point where I stopped at, where the clone was getting just as good as the original. It's almost like they depowered him and like started him over. But I don't know if he started connecting back with his original, so he started learning more powers, or if I don't know if they found him again and he got his power, he got combined again or something, and like he's got a massive increase as a clone or something. I was like, oh, this is interesting how they're using the clone power to connect and not connect. It's like he has the powers, but he doesn't know how to use them or something. It was like I remember there's one fight between a fire user and a lava user, and it was like, who's stronger, you know? And I remember after the Ace thing in One Piece, with Ace having fire and Akainu having lava, like, this person's trying to redo that fight and have the actual fire and lava fight each other. And I think it came out as fire being stronger, if I'm not mistaken, in this series. But it was very different. I remember reading it. I don't know if I can pull up an actual chapter, but like I guess it was the manga style, because I remember it was in color, and when you do one page, it's actually like 2 or 3 pages, or maybe it's just like a partial of the page, and you have to keep scrolling over or something, because a regular manga is like 15 pages, whereas a manga was like 50. You have to scroll up and down or something. Different. And I was like, what is this? Okay. But yeah, that was my experience with this. It was definitely underrated. I thought it was lots of high energy, high impact, different style, you know, but I love the powers. The powers is my big thing. But yeah. What did you think?
I would have to go back and rewatch this anime. And you're right. It is a underrated, because I remember when it came out, I was an avid watcher of it, and then it just, after the season ended, it was just, that was it. It was gone, and I hadn't heard any, prospect season 2 information. I felt like it had a good reception. I just don't know if it just, couldn't garner the amount of attention they wanted, or I don't know if there's some kind of issue going on with the animation studio. It was just went into the null void of animes that could have been.
Yeah, I feel you. And before I go too far, are you okay with me showing, some of these pictures? I didn't really ask on the last couple of streams, but
yeah.
Okay, all right. I don't know how YouTube monetization works. I don't know if they, are gonna, I'll show a trailer with no music, or I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna act, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, this is a really good one. I thought this was a really cool one. It's on my list. I keep it in I have probably like 100 different mangas to read on my list, and we did our top five on the last couple of streams, but
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely one I was like, oh, I got to put it in the background at the very least, and maybe get to it one day to finish it off. Um, but yeah, that's one right there. What did you have in mind? What was another one that you? Oh, Solo 11. I wanted to ask you about Solo 11 one.
Okay,
Um,
shoot.
what is this about again? I don't remember if you went over it on the last one, the last stream, but what is this one about?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so a basic synopsis of it would be you got your main character here. This is a Song Jin Woo. So this is, if you start to get familiar with your naming schemes, this is going to be a manhwa, the Korean
Yeah.
origin. So Jin Woo here, the main protagonist, he starts off as being basically the weakest level hunter um, in his um, in his setting. So the ranking scheme goes from S ranked heroes down to F, and of course our main protagonist starts off as an F rank, and F ranked heroes are the lowest of the low. In fact, they're almost classified as just being regular humans, um, and they're given like just like the low kind of piddly kind of task when they go into dungeons, like hey, carry my book bag or carry the resources and make sure that you don't die. Like that's basically their
Yeah.
task is to just like carry my stuff, don't get injured, and don't get in my way. And he joins this group of yeah, it kicks off with him joining a group. They're going into a dungeon. The dungeon rated was pretty low rated level, and a lot of the people that were going in, they were veterans.
Hmm.
Um, oh, that's another thing. In this I'll call it the universe. Within this manhwa's universe, once you've given a level, your ranking system, that's it. Like you can only like just hone and sharpen your skills within being like grade level 2 or being hunter level A or hunter level B or C, but you can't elevate out of that. So you're C and you stay C, but you could be a very sharply honed C that could give a B a run for their money, but the 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 levels difference is basically you're bracketed into that.
Hmm.
Um, and so he knew that there's nothing else that was left for him other than to just continue on with trying to scrape by and make enough to help his mother. That's our main protagonist's motivation and why he keeps putting himself through constantly endangering his life by going into the dungeons. And in this particular dungeon that the group goes in, they're very confident. In fact, they're probably a little too overconfident because they stumble across a dungeon within a dungeon. So it's a very rare occurrence that you'll find these, and uh, they realize that the temptation of unfound treasures and riches is so alluring that they all that they take a vote to go and explore this unexplored dungeon that they stumbled across.
Hmm.
And it comes down to our main protagonist. He's the tiebreaker. They all choose to go in after he breaks the tie, and once they go in, it basically traps them inside. And the series of events that befall them cause him to basically have to sacrifice himself for the escape of the surviving members of that group. And
Hmm.
yeah, something happens inside, and then when he awakens, he's in the hospital, and he finds out that uh, he's given um, this interaction system that allows him to now level up, and so he's the only character that's able to actually level. Hence, I guess the name solo leveling, because he's
Hmm.
the only character with the ability to level through defeating enemies.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
So you find out that uh, I believe we are given what class he started off with. I believe he's considered a warrior class before he went into the dungeon.
mhm.
But when he's essentially reborn, he comes back as a necromancer.
Interesting. Okay. So it seems pretty dark from all the imagery I'm seeing. This
Oh, but
blade
it's a full
is a
dark.
dagger or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Okay. Does it have an anime now as well?
Yep, yep. The anime is out, first season.
Oh,
Um,
first season. Okay.
yep, very well. I think it was very good reception for this, and it's definitely going to be a season two. There's no way they can't follow this up.
Let's see if I can find a trailer for it because I don't think I've ever.
And the manhwa is really good as well, because when I saw when I started reading the manhwa, I realized, man, they're going to have to animate this thing.
Wow.
Hmm.
Solo leveling.
Yeah, they're showing the story panels from the
I was about to
anime.
say this doesn't look like the anime. Well, that's cool. That's good. Um, no, that's interesting. So it's a little bit more interesting than I thought it was. I thought it was another isekai kind of thing, and
Mm-mm.
he goes into another world and he levels up his character and something like that. But that's not the case. Then it's not an isekai.
No, no. The dungeons are it's happening within that world's time.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's not teleported to another world that that deals with dungeons and beasts.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, okay. Um, but yeah, well, thank you for that. I think you've kind of sparked my interest in this one. I was trying to see. I think I have it on my list too, somewhere. There it is. It's only 200 chapters. That's not long
No,
at all.
yeah, it's not that long. I mean, especially if you're a binge reader, you can definitely finish it off.
Something else about these manhwas, like I said before, it has the color. Like it's an actual colored series, not black and white like the anime, like the mangas.
Hmm.
So you definitely can get into it a lot more. Man, this is seems very dynamic action based. Okay. Well, cool. Well, yeah, I was interested in hearing about that one. But is there another series that you wanted to kind of throw on the board?
Oh, I will say, from our conversation last week, I actually started reading Delicious in Dungeon.
Ah,
No, well, no, I haven't started reading it. I started watching the Delicious in Dungeon um,
okay.
anime, and I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you saw the characters. He was like, "Oh man, I wonder what that tastes like."
Mm-hmm.
They eat this monster or whatever, and the girl's like, "No, I can't eat that. I can't eat it or whatever." And then she eats. She's just like, "This is delicious." I mean,
Yeah, the suit of armor, and he's like, I wonder if we could eat that. It's like, it's a suit of armor. He's like, but it's a monster. If it's a monster, we can eat it.
Exactly.
And then they find out like it's like mussels or something. It's like some kind of like mussel or oyster that's using the suit of armor. It's like its shell, and
Exactly.
it's a colony of them. Yeah.
Exactly. It was that was the one that I couldn't really figure out right at first. I was like, what is it? Living armor? Like,
Hmm.
is the armor just hard and it's actually a soft tissue thing, but it's just hardened? No, it's like you said, it's the muscles. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, they. What did you think about the action in some of the battles and stuff that happens in it?
Yeah, they kept the quality of anime battles that I would, enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, but I could tell that it is mostly focused on its comedy. So
Yeah.
it's a light-hearted comedic anime, at least for the moment. Unless they're about to like do like a complete 180 and like get like very serious on me.
Uh huh.
But yeah, I think it's interesting that a lot of the characters don't like, as long as you can get to them. Apparently, if you can revive them in time, or there's a body retrieval group that comes through the dungeons and tries to like rescue, you know, deceased adventurers. If they can get to them in time, or if they can retrieve the bodies, you can be revived.
Yeah.
Um, that's unique. I don't think I've seen that done in a lot of fantasy anime to that degree. I think what Log Horizon does that, where like
Mm-hmm.
essentially the players can't die; they just get you know resurrected back at their spawn point. Um, Shangri-La Frontier, they do that. You're just basically playing a game, and so you can die, but you're just like you revive back at your save point. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That was a different little take that they do to that with that. And again, like I said before, this is by Studio Trigger, the same people who did Kill a Kill and who did Gurren Lagann and B&A. Um, they did Dead Leaves, the little short. It's like a 54 or 44-minute anime movie. Dead
Hmm.
Leaves, same like in your face dynamic style. I mean, I'm
I
sitting here.
don't think I've heard of that. I don't think I've even seen that.
Oh
Deadly.
man, that's one of my favorite. I've watched this a couple times over because it's so unique and it's so like mesmerizing. I mean, okay, I mean, just kind of go um right into it a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. Is this right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't even tell what's going on because it's so in your face, and the colors, or that same dynamic, high impact. Um, it's the same director, the same person who directed um, Gurren Lagann and stuff,
Mm,
directed this.
I can see that. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very short. It's only like I said, 44 minutes of the whole thing. So you got to imagine it moves pretty fast. All the characters, the power ups. They get a couple of power ups, and it's like it happens. It's like it just happens out of nowhere. Some of the villains, there's people die. Like in Gurren Lagann, it's like, oh, that's my favorite character. Nope, dead. You know. So yeah, man, it's intense. Of course, the comedy, a lot of the comedy is in there too. Um, some explicit content, the guns.
There goes the drill.
Yep, yep. He loves putting drills and stuff in all these things. Um, the powers. This is just a trailer.
Hmm. Okay. And you said it's only 45 minutes long.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right.
really good. Um, so that's another one there. But I mean, we're going into all these different ones that I'm thinking of. Is there another series that you think is underrated that is worth highlighting or bringing up?
Yes. There's a new. Well, I'll say that for a little bit later. Um, the skeleton soldier couldn't protect the dungeon.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that before. I think
Hmm.
skeleton soldier. What? Wait, there it is. Failed to defend the dungeon.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is this a?
Now this is another fully colored uh manhwa.
Oh, okay.
Um, so you can really easily get into it. I mean, it's fully colored front to back. You know, they don't hit you with like the first 3 pages is colored, and then you're, back to reading black and white. Um, and I just love the fact that it's really immersive as you're trying to figure. It throws you into the story with you trying to figure out what's going on the same way the main character is trying to figure out what's going on.
Hmm.
And I kind of like that because he's resurrected by a necromancer, and he becomes this necromancer's foot soldier. He's essentially a low peon skeleton soldier,
Mm-hmm.
um, and somehow, unlike the others, he has a little more autonomy. So he has self um, realization. Um, he he understands that he is different because he's able to realize, hey, wait, I'm this creature, I'm this entity, but I wonder who I was before I died and became a skeleton soldier. And he has his main objective, which he was created to do, is basically to protect his master, which
Mm-hmm.
was the one that summoned him. Unfortunately, he's not able to protect her, and he's killed when like a group of adventurers rush into the lair or rush into the dungeon and kills his master and him. But through some kind of weird series of circumstances, he has the ability to travel, like almost like was it ReZero, where if he dies, he gets reset back into like a different, basically like a respawn point. Like he resets back to the point before he died,
Mm.
and like moments before then. So when he resurrects, he realizes, hey, wait, I'm feeling a weird kind of deja vu. Something's happening. I think I've experienced this before. And then he's
Mm.
like, oh, there's those guys that came in. Wait a minute. I think I know what's about to happen. And then he's killed again. Then when he respawns, he's like, okay, everything, I'm experiencing all of the same stuff happening again. Something's going on. I know what's about to happen. There's going to be some adventurers come through this entrance and they're going to kill my master. I need to warn her. And so he's trying to warn her. She doesn't believe him. Then the adventurers come in. They kill them all again. Then he's like, okay, now I got to figure out a way to convince, And so it starts to build on that.
Mm.
And he starts to try to do things differently. He starts getting he starts to get armor, specialized armor to protect
Mm-hmm.
his fragile body. Then he starts learning different sword styles. He starts learning magic. Then he starts to find that he's able to absorb. Yep, assimilation. He's able to assimilate different abilities and powers from people
Oh.
after they've died. So he starts to, like, even though his master has died, he assimilates some of her abilities and powers.
And
And
that's
so
that's
he
her right
realizes,
there.
uh, let's see,
Uh, this girl right here
yes,
that's
the
dead,
one that's
basically.
like half human, half, yeah,
Oh,
skeleton,
okay.
yeah. And he starts meeting different characters, but you start to realize like he'll meet them in one of his life iterations, and they'll be slightly different when he meets them again in his new life. And that's because the things that happened that made the character the way they were when he met them before were negated because he did something to alter their life experiences. So
Hmm.
he did something to alter one of the character's life experiences where she didn't experience like destitution. She didn't experience famine and like the need for struggling hard in the streets. And so she became a slightly different person when he met her again because he did things to alter like the trajectory of her life in his next go around.
Hmm.
And yeah, there's other things where he does and it like completely makes the character when he runs back into him devoid of certain emotions. Um, and then there's other characters that are kind of, how do I put it? They play very key pivotal points that um, when when he goes to remove this particular element
Hmm.
from them, it essentially erases that person from his future timelines. So he can no longer meet them again if something particularly happens to them.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's
Interesting. So as you were saying, I just added it to my list now. I see. That's what I like about these talks already, because it's like it's never something I would have even thought to even add it to. I'm like, man, skeletons. I ain't worried about no skeletons. So, but as you're describing it, it's like, oh, it's a little bit more interesting than I thought it was. Just initially hearing you talk about it, and as we're kind of going through it, it was like, okay, that's interesting. It's like I can
yeah,
add it to my list. You know.
and it gets to like a really fun part where you know he gets a good run in a particular go,
Uh huh.
and he says to himself like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do everything I can because there's points before then where if he comes up to like a certain hardship,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, you know what, forget it, I'll just restart over, and then just he will actually off himself so that he can just reset because he's like, I know already, I know how to deal with this person or I know how to deal with this thing
Uh
or this
huh.
entity. I'm just going to reset, and then he'll just off himself, and then he'll come back. But and then when he does so many things right at this one point in time, you're rooting for him, and he's just like doing everything he can to like stay alive because he does not want to reset. And
Interesting.
and like the enemy that he meets is she's just too powerful for him. And
Yeah.
so when he's defeated, he resets back, and then he's just like speed running back through, like trying to get back to that point. So he's like,
Huh.
he knows exactly what's about to happen, where he knows who he needs to meet, when he needs to meet them, what
Mm-hmm.
they know, what they don't know, and so like he's like heading off different enemies before they can even become a threat. It
Ah.
gets really fun.
Okay. Yes, that is pretty interesting because it adds another layer to it where it's not just fighting or whatever. It's like he's actually taking advantage of his power to die and come back, and then the desperation of him like, oh no, I need to keep this. I want to keep this, you know. That's pretty cool. That's pretty good. Okay. I see it doesn't have an anime yet, apparently,
Mm-mm.
right?
But it needs one, man. It
It
is.
needs one.
It's already like just the illustrations alone right now is great.
Yeah.
So I don't know what studio could pick that up. There's great material already there.
Mhm.
It's and the the animation could only just make it better.
Can only make it better.
Only make it better.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Um, I got another one here for you. This is a manga. It never got an anime, unfortunately. I actually read this. I don't know. I don't think I started at the beginning of it, but I jumped in somewhere where it started and finished it out. It's completely done. 14 volumes. I think it finished back in 2016. So another old one. Well, not even 10 years old, but it's this one here. It's called Area D. Have you heard of it? No. So Area D,
Nope, haven't heard of that.
man, where do I even start with this one, man? This I don't even know how I found it. I think I was just scrolling through one day and found it and was like, oh, that's cool, and then just kept reading it or something. This is part two actually, so I need to go back to part one. So it was one of those that has two parts, kind of like One Piece, where all the big events happen in the first like 100 chapters, and then it ends like it's like oh snap, like that's the end of what happened to him, and then it picks up again a couple years later, and like it finishes the whole series out. Area D is about a world where people have powers. I think they're called alters maybe or something like that.
Okay.
But they have powers. Our main character's name is, I think, is Jin. And basically when him and his older brother were younger, they were separated at some point. They were like orphans or something, and it's one of those, it's like, oh, it's like, I'll always be with you, I'll always take care of you. It's like we're brothers to the end or whatever. And one of their idols was this guy who I think he can give away powers and take powers. No, that's wrong. There was a guy that it's like one of their idols or whatever, like one of their heroes or something. That's a big part of it later on. But basically, his older brother has the power to give powers and take them away. And I think somehow one day, I think he gave Jin his powers or something, and they separated. Something happened. So Jin is on a journey. He's grown up. He looks like this now. He has long hair or whatever, and he's on a journey to find his brother. He doesn't know what happened to him. And Jin's powers is that he can copy everyone else's powers, kind of like heroes from back in the day.
Oh, okay. Now, is it like a limited time, or does he copy it permanently, or how does that work?
It's a permanent copy until he copies somebody else's.
Oh, so you can only copy one power at a time.
Correct.
Okay.
And what is neat about it? So Jin, like his personality type is like this. What you see right here, he's always stoic. He's always serious. He's always on top of it. And when you first meet him, actually, I want to see if I can set the scene a little bit. Where is it at? This guy here. Yeah, I think this is like the first chapter. Yeah, this is it right here. So it starts out on this boat because they're going to this place. Area D is kind of like a prison.
Okay.
Like Area A, Area B, or whatever in this prison. And Area D is where they keep all the people with powers. It's kind of like a war zone, kind of like a Mad Max thing or something like that. And on their way there on this boat, you think it's the main characters, but it's this one guy that you see here. He's got the glass. He's kind of real timid. He's real shy. He's always like the Krillin. He's like, don't touch me. I don't know what's going on, and all this kind of stuff. But he has a power. He has his hands wrapped up all the time because his power is called clock maker or something like that, watchmaker or something, where he can. It's almost like overhaul. When he touches something, he can break it apart to all his different pieces and stuff. But it's unintentionally. Is when he touches it, it happens. So starts out like that, and he's being chased by some other people on the boat, and they want to kill him and do all these things because they're bullies or something. And he meets Jin. Jin is in this big container, and he's like, I need your help. He's like, don't leave me alone. I'm minding my own business. You know, he's stoic. He's like, don't bother me. He's like, I need your help. He's like, they're gonna kill me. Or so he says something very, deep. He starts crying or whatever. He's like, I just want to do this or whatever. And Jin's like, okay, I'll help you. It's like, just touch my hand or something like that. And he touches him. And then Jin, like I said, he's always on top of it. Like he takes the power to another level. Like that's his thing. He'll take someone's power or fire powers and he'll do something crazy with it.
Mm.
So he's like one of those like fighting geniuses kind of thing. Um, yeah, that's it. Right. I think that's first chapter right there.
Okay.
The guy, he's like, what? And the guy that was chasing him, he has like spike blade things, and he
Mhm.
stops him, and he just like whoops his ass or whatever. I think he touches him and takes his power and uses it back on him or something. But anyways, that's just like the first chapter. That's how like epic it gets. That's how he handles situations. Um, it's really dark. It's very cool, very very cool. It reminds me of like Dead Man Wonderland. I don't know if you heard of that.
Mm. Yep.
Back in the day.
Yep. I watched Dead Man Wonderland.
Yep, I think it was around that same time frame, same art style kind of thing. Like I said, Jen goes throughout the story, tries to find his brother. Of course, he finds his brother. Um, he goes in these different fights. There's like different there's like these mob bosses that have their own areas. There's
Mhm.
one area is kind of like they're all beastmen that can turn into like different animals. There's another area where it's like illusions and like mystical powers, like illusions and I think the girl in there has fire powers and stuff like that. And there's another one where it's um, like gangsters and street fighters that have their
Mm.
own kind of set of powers or whatever, and he has to go through this gauntlet to beat each one of them to get to the main boss, almost like a video game.
Mhm.
But that's part one, and part two it picks up like a year or two after or something, and that's where we get like these second set of characters. It is them, right? No, this is the. I think it's this. I forget, but anyways, um, there's another set of characters that follows this new kid who has a power to make like I think like animals out of fire or something, or I forget exactly what it was, but he's like our new main character in the second half. He meets Jen, and it becomes like a whole new thing. Um, but it's a very intense series, very cool imagery. Um, I might have to go and find the whole box set if I can. But it
Mm.
was one of those I was like, man, why did they not make an anime for this? Why did they not push this further? I don't know if the artist is even making mangas and stuff anymore.
Mm.
I just felt like it was a super super underrated series, especially for its different powers and stuff. Um, but yeah. Um, it was also one of those. It had powers like this girl here. I think she, of course, it's like this whole like feminine imagery, and it's like, okay, let's show as much skin as we can without showing the skin. Um, I think this girl has the power to like her clothes come off, but she can like jump into the shadows on the wall and stuff, and like phase through things. Um, this is the girl with the fire powers, where you
Mhm.
can, like defeat her and all this kind of stuff. She can make fire animals and things. Girl. Um, that's just one of the scenes that we're fighting right there. Really cool.
Okay.
But yeah, Area D, highly highly underrated.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you have another one for us?
Yes. Boom, 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 boom. So I think it's underrated in that um, a lot more could have been done with it, but I'm happy with where it's at right now. I enjoy it for the most part.
Mhm.
But it would be the Shangri-La Frontier.
Now I've heard of this Shangri-La Frontier. Oh, with the animal, he has the bird head thing.
Mm.
I think I've seen this in different places, but I never watched it. It's an anime, you said?
Yep, 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 yep.
Oh,
I think from what other people have said, they wished it was like more story focused. But not every anime has to be, great in storytelling. Sometimes you just, want to get right into some action and you want to just enjoy characters. Um, you get this uh, your main character. The world is a video game, so it's like Sword Art Online if you were able to log out of your VR headset.
Hmm.
And so, uh, yeah, essentially, he's uh, uh, a super gamer, but he particularly specializes in playing trash video games. So the games that no one likes to play, the games that are filled with glitches, he loves that stuff. He loves trying to beat like crazy, um, these crazily overly powerful, flawed enemies. That will do weird things in the game when you're playing that would frustrate most players. And they
Hmm.
just, throw the game away. Like, man, this game's trash. I can't play it. You can't even beat like the second boss. And he plays it and he enjoys them. He beats them. He exploits the flaws in the game. He exploits a
Hmm.
lot of the bugs that he finds. Well, this particular game, Shangri-La Frontier, comes out, and it's touted as being like the best world immersive game out there. And for some reason, he decides he's going to pick it up. He's like, okay, all right, this game's so great. I
Hmm.
guess I gotta play it. But he takes all the skills that he's acquired in playing all of these like glitch filled games and these games that where you have to memorize, enemies, uh, hitbox areas. You got to memorize, um, their strike patterns. All these games where it literally takes like fractions of seconds to make or break certain fights, and he's just that good at memorizing these things and learning, you know, um, the strike distance of certain enemies. Like, ooh, I know that he only has a sword reach of, 4 feet. So I can stand just this distance to miss this strike. Or I know his next attack is going to be, this. So I've memorized his attack sequences already. I know it's going to be this. I know his next go to is going to be that. Oh, wait, hold on. Something changed. It's because his HP dropped below a certain point. So now he's changed up his attack pattern scheme. This is just
Hmm.
like this other trash game that I played. And
Oh.
so he goes off of all of these different uh, accounts that he's played different characters in different games, and he brings that all over into this game. And the thing about this game is that it is very much more realistic. The blades of grass, the wind, speed, aerodynamics, all that stuff now plays into effect more so in this game than it did in any other game. So now he's using uh, real world physics and dynamics too in this game. So he's like taking from all of these different aspects and putting them into trying to master this game.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So did you why the bird head though? What is that about?
So for some weird reason, he decided he was going to make his character. I want to say his character looks exactly like him, and I think he was just doing it for like shits and giggles. But then he realized, oh wait, everybody will actually know what I look like in the real world,
Hmm.
and he didn't want to be like that readily known, so he decided to use some type of mask. And the bird mask was the only one that he was able to get at the time and acquire, and he's just kind of stuck with it.
Huh.
It's just like his motif.
with no other gear or nothing. He's just like, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, there's a reason behind not having any gear too. Yep, something
Okay.
happens, and so
Okay.
yeah, he's unable to wear any gear.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Well, very good. Very good. That's like I said, I've heard of it, but and I've seen like a picture or two. I never put the two together. People were like, "Oh, the Shangri-La series." Like I saw this picture or something. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." But
Yeah, like okay, I'm trying to see if you've seen this other anime. I'm trying to think of the name. The main protagonist, his name is Maple,
Mabel.
and she has a huge shield.
Okay.
Man, what is the name of that anime? But like her thing is like she specs all into like defensive skills and
Okay.
defense. And well, this particular character, he specs all into I want to say like luck and agility. And so he uses luck because he's very much into like um, crit, critical chances and
Hmm.
critical hits. And so I thought that was interesting because I've always seen like the different gaming style anime where like your character specs into like a lot of like strength if they want to be like really strong.
Right.
Maple was different because she spec'd into a lot of defense and she had like huge shields that she would keep like rotating out of to like do different things. Um, and I'm trying to think of some others. Like if they're like a magician and they're wanting to do things with magic, they spec high into like wisdom or intelligence, whatever.
Hmm.
And this is the first that I've seen where someone's like, give me that luck stat or give me. It's like what? Like no one specs into luck, and
Yeah. It's kind of a strange trait because luck is not even a constant thing. I
yep.
wouldn't think.
And his whole strategy is going off of on like if I hit them right here at this point at this time, is my crit chance going to go off, or is when is it going to proc? When is it going to proc? And he just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going, and then it's like finally it procs, and he's like, I got it.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. That is it's definitely a different way of playing it. Definitely a different way of approaching the whole aspect of it. Um, and it's not an isekai. It's just a him playing a game like a sword art. It's more like a sword art. You said right.
Yes, it's like Sword Art if they were able to log out of their headsets.
So he does log out like every
Mm-hmm.
day and
Yep.
or whatever. He just jumps in whenever. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's the name of that anime that I was trying to refer back to. It's called I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, they give like those long names,
Okay.
man.
We have to look that up. I'm sorry. That's wild. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense, bro.
Yep.
Bro, what?
And that has an anime adaptation. Yep. Yep.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's in season two. Yeah, they've finished
Oh,
season two.
this
I've
is
watched one and two.
this little cutesy girl, and she's all
All defense, man. She is
on
like
defense. Okay.
just really
I'm
break the
scared to
wall.
scroll too far in this whole thing, man. This is because it's too, they're trying real hard to skate the line. You know what I'm saying? This one's tough work, man. I'm gonna back away from this one just because I'm scared of what might pop up with this. Uh,
Now that's fine. That one doesn't have any,
fan service.
fan service. No, it's all just kind of like light-hearted gimmicks and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. I'm trying to figure. Okay, here's another one. So I'm kind of bringing you up all the old school ones that
Okay.
I read around this 2016 era because the stuff I'm reading now is way different than the stuff I read back then. Let me see. And again, I haven't touched it since then. I think it finally has an anime now. It looks like UQ Holder. Have you heard of this one?
I heard of that one.
Yeah.
Yo, yes.
Oh, he turned into a girl. Oh, this is
Yep.
much further along than I thought. So this is spoilers for me. Um, okay. So to give a quick little rundown of what this is, UQ Holder is about this kid here. Um, he's going off to school one day. I think he doesn't have any parents. He's raised by, I forget who he's raised by or something like that. But his teacher here in the blonde, let me see if I can find a good picture of her. Right there. This is the anime, apparently. His teacher here, she's really strong. She's really smart and all this kind of stuff. I mean, they have a pretty good relationship with each other. Well, I think he ends up dying, and she brings him back to life. It's like first couple panels.
Hmm.
He dies, and she brings him back to life and makes him immortal. And I think there's different kinds of immortality, and that's kind of like the big premise of this whole series is immortalities.
Hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, she's a immortal through vampire vampirism.
Yeah, I thought I remembered it was vampires. It was like elves.
Mm,
Wasn't it werewolves? There was like
werewolf.
angels,
Yep,
demons.
yep, all of that. And there's different ways you become immortal, and depending on the way you become immortal, is like how strong your immortality is, and whether you're technically immortal or not, because you could still die
Hmm.
depending on your immortality. So hers is vampire, and so of course this is this girl right here. I guess you can't
Yeah,
see
can't see
technically.
your mouse.
Let me see if I can enlarge in the picture. The girl right here,
Okay.
her power is kind of like what you were just saying with the skull dude. Um, she can set a save point. She has the power to set a save point and then continue forward. So if she dies, she comes back to that save point. And you can only
Mm.
do one at a time. So if she doesn't reset that save point and she dies, she'll go all the way back to that. So that's kind of like the weakness of hers. It's like she has to set a save point, continue forward where she wants to go, set that save point, and that's her immortality. Um, so kind
But she
of
can. I guess the way that she dies is if you kill her before she sets her save point.
yes, yes.
Mm.
So if she doesn't have a save point, then she's dead.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, like I said, immortality through vampirism, and the guy with the red hair right there, he's kind of cool. He was kind of my favorite character because he's kind of like Shanks. He's the Shanks character, in that. So UQ holder, what that is, I forget what the exact like UQ means and what like the whole name, but UQ holder is the actual group. It's the name of their team,
Hmm.
and his name is Jinbei, just like in One Piece. His name is Jinbei,
Jimmy. Okay.
and he's the leader of the entire UQ holder. Even over her, I think her name is I forget what her name was, but his immortality is that he ate a piece of mermaid flesh, and that allows him to be immortal through undying, basically.
Mm.
So, and I think you can just cut his head off or something, or you can either cut his head off, you can feed him poison, like he can die just like any other human, except that he lives forever, and I think he heals a little bit faster. But I think in one part he takes his robe off, and you can see he has all these scars and all these battle wounds and all these things, but he's immortal, so it doesn't bother him. And it showed how immensely strong he is. Like he looks normal. He's like smiling and stuff, but then he can just unleash this massive amount of power. out of nowhere. Um, and then this other girl, I think she's like a witch.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one, I think hers is a curse. She has the power of a curse that keeps her alive or something like that. So it's not really immortality, it's just like magic, basically.
Mm.
Just power or something like that. But anyways, the series is about the boy, and there's another boy, or actually, can't even say boy, really. It's a, ooh, wow, that's small. Trying to see if I can get it up and show. Okay, much better. Nope. So the one with the long hair right there, um, basically, the reason why I'm trying to really highlight this person is because, oh, that's Jinbei right there. Nope, that's the werewolf. That's the werewolf. I guess his immortality is werewolfism.
Mm-hmm.
This is Kaito.
Kaito, yeah.
Oh, there's Jinbei. That's like all his scars and everything like that.
Okay.
And again, they're doing the Shanks thing with the red hair and easy
Mm-hmm.
going. But it's this kid right here in the very left.
Okay.
Basically, that's like his best friend once he becomes immortal, and they kind of join the group together.
Mm-hmm.
And they even have like lots of like interactions where they're trying to learn from each other and get stronger and stuff like that. And actually, his immortality is that it's like a family. I think that one's the curse. It's like a family curse or something. But he's more like a doll. He's not really a gender. He's like genderless.
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point, he has to choose whether he wants to be. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. He has to choose whether he wants to be a man or be a girl. But it's based off of the main character. So it's like, do I want to be your best friend forever, or do I want to be your lover later on down the line? It's like I have to choose. I don't want to choose, and all this kind of stuff. But that's where when we were first looking at it a second ago.
When you were looking at that angel imagery.
Yeah, it looked like it's like he chose to be a girl as the way it seemed right there. So I was like, oh man, okay. So and actually the series is actually tied into another. This is a sequel technically to another series that the artist created, where I guess the main character is here. His great great grandfather has like a harem of girls that he taught in like a.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, this right here. So I guess this is his great great grandfather, and it's like he teaches a bunch of girls and all this kind of stuff. But then later on in UQ holder, his great great grandfather shows up as like a really really powerful sorcerer, and his son is like a really powerful sorcerer that is like evil, and they have to stop him, and that's like the main villain of the whole thing. But it's like evil by some kind of curse or some magic that's taken over his mind, and he has to get stronger in order to defeat him, and then use all his friends and their immortality power to stop him. And on top of that, him and his teacher here, even though you would think this is very inappropriate kind of relationship kind of thing, they end up, it's like she's actually not as old as she looks. This grown woman look is actually a spell that she's casted on herself to look older, because she's actually a young, she's like a maybe 8 or 9-year-old looking girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she was made a vampire when she was a little girl, so she's stuck in that form.
I see.
But she's stupid powerful, so she uses really powerful magic in order to look older. And I think that's her right there. She's like a little kid or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she, starts to have feelings for him, and they end up, I don't know if they actually end up together or something, because the other girl, he has a choice of all these different girls, kind of like Shuffle or like the harem style. And it's like, which one are you going to choose? Are you going to choose your teacher? Or are you going to choose your best friend who wants to become a female for you? I don't know. It's all bonkers. But there's some really cool powers in this. There was one scene where I think the main character, he learns how to become lightning. Yeah, right here. One of his grandfather's powers was that he can turn himself into lightning for like 2 seconds or something. So of course that's really fast and really powerful energy within
Mm,
a second. And it was one of the coolest. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like you can become lightning, like zip around and like, but it only lasts but like a few seconds. And if you can figure out how to really use that very well, then you'll be unstoppable.
mm-hmm.
So there's some really cool fight scenes in it. Some really cool characters that pop up. I think there's some outer space battles where we're fighting some aliens and stuff.
Mm, okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, of course, you got your whole the harem style. They got names for it when the guy is older than the girl, or when the girl's older than the guy, and they like each other, something like that.
Yeah. Shoto.
Shoto, something like Shoten, Shoto, Shota. I don't know. There's so many different things, but they have all those things in here. But yeah, I stopped reading it somewhere, and it looks like they got really far along. I don't even know what this is at this point. It's like Jinbei
Mm,
fighting somebody. 162. So, UQ holder.
yeah.
Very
Okay.
look at that design. That's crazy. Um, yeah, underrated, man. I don't think it looks like it finally got an anime, but
Yes, it did get an anime. Yeah.
I don't hear it being talked about like everything else.
Mm-mm.
Oh, look at that. Look like the main bosses or
Oh
something.
yeah, that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh, one more. One more. What is this? Oh, that's them fighting. Okay. But yeah, UQ holder. It's another underrated
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, I forgot about UQ holder. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right. Any more that you have on the list here?
Let's see. Underrated. Let's see.
We'll probably do one more each.
Okay, so the last one for me that I'll end off with is right now. I don't know if it has a big reception, but I just did a short highlighting this new anime that I've started watching called Wistoria, Wand and Sword, and
Is it Restoria?
yes, it gives me the martial magic and muscles kind of feel. Not as far as like the art style or the character himself. They're definitely um, they're definitely two different characters.
Mm-hmm.
But the theme of it is basically this is a world that's based around magic, and magic being something that's touted and is used to distinguish the haves from the have-nots. Um, so you can see the elitism in um, people that make a certain magic rank, or they become a higher entity because they are well skilled um, in magic, and then they get this ranking associated with their skill level,
Mm-hmm.
and then they look down on the lower skill levels, and even worse, it's like the ones that don't have any magic or don't have the ability to use those same skills, they're basically just looked at as trash. They're disposable. They're less than. What are you doing here? So, kind of like in Mashal in Wistoria, we're following Will. Will, he's a character that he can't use magic. So,
Hmm.
he wants to join this high elite status of mages.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he's struggling in school because there's certain requirements that you have to make in order to even take a certain test to qualify to become this to join this league of mages. Well, he overcomes that hurdle of not having magic, through his use of swordplay. So in Mashal, he overcomes that with his use of his muscles with brute strength.
Hmm.
And here in Wistoria, he overcomes it with he has this particular metal sword. I think it like negates, kind of like Asta, somewhat. It negates magic. Um, but I'm pretty sure we'll learn. I think it's only on its third episode right now, and I
Mm-hmm.
have not started reading the manga, so I don't know where it may go. But I have a feeling that we'll learn that, like Asta, he's well, and Mashal, they both are all three of these characters. They're really strong, really fast, and they have basically pushed their bodies to the limit of human um, possibilities. So in this one particular fight, like I mean, this man, he's in midair, and usually in all anime and all in everything, when you get an enemy that can't fly, mind you, if they can't fly and you get them suspended in air, it's like, well, shoot, that's it. Like you're gonna get hit because there's no way you can dodge in midair, and he finds a way to dodge in midair as he's descending down, and that's because he's able to contort his body right before the blade comes and hits him. So he does like a spinning roll in the air. It was crazy. The fight,
Hmm.
the fight is awesome. So right now I'm like all in on it, but I'm not seeing too much hype around it. Uh, but yeah, that fight scene was awesome.
Interesting.
In
Okay.
fact, I don't know if you're able to even pull it up because it's I think it's my last short that I just did. Um, and it, well, but yeah, they share some of the elements,
Mm-hmm.
but they all kind of differ. Um, you know, that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that I like about anime. They can take something that has some of the same themes, but then still turn it into give it its own individuality,
Mm-hmm.
so that you're like, man, I'm definitely watching something that has distinct differences. You can tell that there are some likenesses to other things. It
Mm-hmm.
maybe it grabbed an element from here or it grabbed an element from there, but it still did a good job into turning it into its own uh, distinct show. It's got its own individuality.
Yeah. Interesting. And what is this? Is a Crunchyroll one?
Um, I think it is Crunchyroll. I think it
Okay.
is.
Okay. Just trying to find some, yeah, some good images of it. All right. Very good. Excuse me. Um. So if I had one last one to bring up to show, um, I was kind of torn between. I don't know if it's worth really bringing up because both of these that I was thinking about are done and gone. Well, I did Area D, so I'll do this one. I'll do this one.
Okay.
Um, I originally was gonna do Toriko. Um, have you heard of Toriko?
I can't say I have.
Okay.
That character looks familiar. Mm,
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll stick with Toriko then. Um, Toriko was one that it ended in 2017. It started in 2008, so it was about 8 years worth
okay.
of content. It finished completely. I'll bet that the last, I'll say like the last 50 chapters were rushed. Like you can tell at a certain point it was like they had built up all this content. We're about to do this world building. We got like 8 more battles at least. And it's like, nope, we're just gonna cut this off. Here's our last battle and finish it off. And it's like, dang,
Mm.
you know. But Toriko is about it's about food. It's about eating food and getting all the nutrition out of the food and becoming stronger because of the food. Um, there's a thing called gourmet cells, and that the more you eat really good foods and eat animals that have these gourmet cells within them, you absorb all these gourmet cells that in turn make you have a lot of gourmet cells that make you stronger. And you use these gourmet cells for like power, and you can do like energy attacks and powers and do all these different things and so on and so forth. Um, so the main characters that you have here, I want to find a good picture. This is a good picture. Oh, this is a great picture. The main characters we're looking at here is Toriko. He's the one with the blue hair.
Mm.
And the other main character is Komatsu. He's the one in the front bottom with the black hair, little short kid looking. And Komatsu's like a gourmet cook. He's like, his power is that he can cook anything and make it delicious. No, it doesn't matter if it's trash. He can take trash and make it taste like a 5-star gourmet meal.
Okay.
Yeah. And Toriko is he's like our badass Goku, basically. It's like he's fighting genius or whatever. And of course, he has a lot of gourmet cells. And of course, you have to eat. He eats and gets stronger. He has to get stronger and stuff like that, and he does. But it's over time, obviously. And so what happens is Toriko meets Komatsu, and they end up becoming a partnership. It's like, hey, partner with me, and I'll make sure that you can eat all the good foods that you can. He's like, hey, partner with me, and I'll make sure you can cook all the greatest meals that you want, because he wants to be a gourmet chef and all this kind of stuff. Well, come to find out, the way the world works, there's 2 continents. There's the human world, then there's the gourmet world. The human world is where all the humans live on this continent, and there's different cities and all this kind of stuff. The gourmet world is where all the most vicious and dangerous monsters in the entire series live. And they're all given like a level. Like level 20 would be like an alligator. And level 20,000 is like the super alligator that is bigger than a whole entire city kind of thing. And so they go out to search these different animals at the different levels. And of course, the higher the level, the more dangerous it is and the more gourmet cells it has. Of course, they want to eat these animals and capture them. And there's a capture list, not like Pokemon, but they each have their own menu. So like Toriko, he's like, hey, my own personal menu for my hors d'oeuvres, I'll do this. For my meat dish, I'll do this. For my fish dish, I'll do this. And on that list, Toriko's full course. It's called their course. So basically, they have their own full course meals that they would do. I want to show like the actual animals. But so for the hors d'oeuvres, he does like this. It's called a BB popcorn. It's basically this giant flower that's like on the sky that is like really dangerous to get to. But if you can get to it, and you have to do certain conditions to make it grow and make it bloom. Like, I don't know if it has to be in the right kind of sun. You have to attack it a certain way and do this thing or whatever. And then it'll bloom and pop popcorn, like these giant sized popcorns. And that's his hors d'oeuvres. And for the soup, the soup is called century soup because it's a broth that's made out of a century old like lake that has absorbed the nutrients from all these different gourmet animals over a century, all their bones and all this kind of stuff. And when it's done, it's like you drink it and it gives you it revitalizes your entire body and makes you strong all over again. But you can only get it after a century long worth of time, So it's different, like crazy things like that. The jewel meat, if you eat it, it like revitalizes it heals all your muscles. Like I think there was a scene where they were like completely beaten down. Their muscles were chomped out and cut out and stuff. When you eat it, it revitalizes all your muscles, and then you're back to whole again. And you can fight all over again. So it's just crazy stuff like that that the world is built off of. Um, Going back to the main characters here, in the green here, you have Coco. So there's what's called four heavenly kings. It's Coco, Toriko, the guy with the crazy rainbow hair is Sunny, and then the guy with the purple jacket on and with the red
Mm-hmm.
hair, that's Zebra. And each of the four kings have their own sense that they're really good at. So Toriko has a strong sense of smell, and it's funny because when you think about food, it's like he's like, I can smell the beast. It's like 100 miles away that way or whatever. It's like he can smell the dish. Coco, he can see all the electromagnetic waves in the air, and he can tell you your fortune. He's like, you're gonna die in like 10 years, or something like that. Sunny, his hair is like snakes. He can control it in any way. So his is touch. He can
Mm-hmm.
touch things and like do stuff or whatever. And Zebra, his is sound. And he's like the Vegeta of the series. He's the only person that gives Toriko a run for his money. He's almost as strong as he is on his team, but he's also like partly evil at the same time. And his sound, the reason why his mouth is like you can see half of his teeth right there is
Mm-hmm.
because he keeps ripping it out whenever he uses his vocal cords to make like sound attacks and stuff. It like blows out the side of his mouth. So they try to stitch it up at one point. Toriko's like, "Hey man, you gotta stop doing that." And then in the very next scene, he like yells and it rips his mouth open again. Um, but then some of the things with the series that makes it so freaking cool is that one of the main dudes in the series is called Acacia. He's the food god, basically, and he lived like 1,000 years ago, and he basically stopped all wars with his cooking, and then he left to go into hiding or something like that. But he raised three sons to be his predecessors, and the three sons are these old guys right here. The one in the left, the bottom left, that's Toriko's like adoptive father. His name is Ichiryu.
Okay.
Ichiryu, that stands for the first dragon, the first son. Um, the one on the right side with the white hair,
Mm-hmm.
his name is Jiro. That stands for second wolf. He's the second son. And then the guy at the top is the third son. This is Midora for third tiger. And he's like actually the overall villain of the series. Secondary villain. There's another main villain without spoiling it. But he's like the first villain that they start coming into contact with. And these guys are like 600 years old. And they, like I said, they were the sons of Acacia. But they've lived so long, and they're like the most strongest characters in the entire series at 600, 700 years old because they ate really powerful animals and foods that have let them live so long, let them be so powerful. And it's what made the series so cool. I wish it had a lot more people behind it. I thought it gave One Piece a run for its money. Is that cool?
Really?
Yeah, yeah. In some
Okay.
ways, I think it's better than One Piece. Um, just in the sheer magnitude of power. I'll say this and I'll end it. So these three characters, like my favorites. My favorite being the one on the right side with the white hair. Ichiryu was so powerful. I think he's probably the strongest character in the whole series, but he just didn't try. Um,
Hmm.
he has the power to literally manipulate his cells and all the cells around him. And so he was fighting Midora, the guy at the top. They were in a fight, and Midora, his thing was he's called the copycat. He can copy anybody's power just by seeing it. And they were fighting, and Ichiryu was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Reverse world. And so every attack that he was doing would reverse. So, and he used a reverse world on him, and it was like all the cells in your body that want to live, hey, we're going to produce energy, we're going to live. He reversed it, and it was like all his cells want to die. So he was making him die just by willing it into action. And so Medora was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "I'm dying." So he like punched a hole in himself so that his body was gonna die. So they wanted to live.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Okay, reverse off." He started.
He's like, okay, well, I'll reverse it again.
It's crazy. I was like, that is so overpowered.
Yeah, because now you got a big old gaping hole in your chest, and it's like,
yeah.
how am I supposed to heal this thing?
And so what they did was like Midora was like, okay, copycat. He's like, so now I'm gonna copy your reverse world and reverse it on myself. It was like a game of chess, back and forth, back and forth. And so like I said, Midora, he was crazy strong. Like I said, the copycat thing. Plus he had this whole thing, he could use his energy, and like he did this like hyper yell or whatever, and his powers, he was able to shoot out energy all over the planet, and like meteorites all over the place. That was really cool. And Jiro, he was, oh man, his was so cool. Jiro was able to he looks like an old man, right? In his last fight before he died, he ended up dying. So he looked like this, but then he was fighting against these like really stupid strong monsters, and he was like, okay, he has so much power within him that he had all these like blockers. It's almost like pins or like pressed inside of him at pressure points to keep his power on lockdown. So he was like, all right, let me take this out. And he started taking them out one by one. And as he was doing that, he was getting younger and younger and younger. Like, see right here? I don't know if you see all these pins in his face and stuff. So he looks young because he took like a couple of them out. So when he ends up taking all of them out, he grows to look like really young, like this all over again, like he's in his 20s or something. And he has the power to like, he was like, you know what? All of you getting on my nerves. It's like, chill. So he punched the world. He said, grand knocking. And he punched like the ground, and it made the whole entire earth stop spinning. And then everybody on the planet was like paralyzed for like a minute. And then he was just walking around doing his own thing. It was like, what? It was like, you shouldn't be that powerful, you know?
Kill an individual like that, then. I mean,
say what?
How would you even kill an individual like that?
So he died. So he went to his super, like his all out form. He's like, yeah, now I can release my 100% power. The only reason he died, I was like, he might have been the strongest character too, is because he was fighting against the last boss, the main villain. I'm trying to see if I can find it. And the main villain was the person who taught him all his powers in the first place. So, and his power, like that grand knocking I was telling you about, where he can paralyze, that's he can hit pressure points. So when he's fighting you, he can hit you in a certain spot and you would just die, or he can hit you and you would be paralyzed. Like, I can't move or whatever. On top of that, he can hit his own pressure points. So if you like knock his head off or something, or you about to like break his neck, he can hit a pressure point where it's like, no, I'm good. Like he just absorbs the damage. Well, in doing that, he absorbed the damage, but it's still there. So the person who taught him how to do that in the first place, right here. So he was using, he's touching his head because he's like paralyzing him. He's like, oh, you know, I'm the one who taught you how to do that, right? She's like, what? He's like, oh shit, I forgot. So he unparalyzed him back. And when he did that, he unlocked all the damage that he took his entire life, that he always paralyzed on himself. If that makes sense. So, and by unlocking all of that stuff, so now all the damage is coming back on him over all the years, like 700 years worth of damage. And even he can't handle that. So that's how he ended up dying. See if I can find it. It's right here somewhere. Like this is him fighting him right here. He's like going around. He's like doing these punching and knockings and stuff. And yeah, right there. He unlocks it. He's like damage release. So it was like, you may not be able to use knocking to manage the damage you take. So you may be able to manage the damage you take, but none of that damage actually disappears. It simply stopped, and it still lives inside your body. So he unlocks it, and then now all the damage is like hitting him all at once. And
Mm.
he was like, nah. He was trying to turn it back off, but you can't. He's trying to do it one at a time, but all of it is coming at one time. So it was like, I can't even stop it. So I'm dead. It was like, what? It sucks. It sucks. But I mean, that was a long description, but it's just one of my favorite series of all time. It's not the best art, but when you look at all the possibilities and all the different things they could do,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely up there. I think it was definitely underrated times 10. They had an anime for it, but the anime didn't do it justice. It ended early, and yeah, Toriko.
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple now to look into. I'm gonna check out this Area D and check out Dead Leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know. Is UQ Holder? It's still running the manga.
Let
I
me
was watching the anime for UQ Holder.
let
So
me take a peek at it. I don't think I'm gonna say it's not, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Oh, whoa, okay. Dang, they're doing like space battles and stuff. I need to look into this. I'm gonna say, dang, that's cool. Like stupid spoilers, but I'm gonna say the manga is done.
okay.
Yeah, it's done. It's done. Yeah,
I might start reading it then.
yeah. It's only 192 chapters.
Okay. Yeah.
I might start it over actually, myself.
Yeah. That's what I would have to do because I long since forgot about it.
Yeah. Dang, son. That's crazy.
Cool.
Um, yeah, man. And that's especially that skull when the skeleton that couldn't save protect the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely sparked my interest on that one. So I'm definitely gonna jump into that.
Yep. I'm almost finished with Delicious in Dungeon. So yeah.
Oh, the whole thing? It's like
Mm-hmm.
26 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. It's
Yes, I liked it. I was like, okay, all right.
yeah. It's not the super battle series, but it's enough. It was like, okay, this is something I could keep watching.
Mm-hmm.
It was coming out once a week, every Thursday. So it was like one of those things like, oh, time to sit down and watch it. And then you can wait till the week after. It's like, all right, new episode. I think it's done now, the first season. So hopefully the second season will start up again, maybe next year or something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right, cool. Well, it's another good stream. Only about an hour and a half, so not too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just talking about some underrated anime and manga that we both kind of had in our back pockets there. So, how was this? Was Saturday at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? Was that a good time?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I'll shoot to the other guys, and we'll keep this as a steady Saturday at 1 o'clock for our time, 2 o'clock for your time. Um, Hopefully, I mean we had a lot of rain and weather today, so that was kind of messing up some of the things I was trying to do to kind of push me back. But yeah, we'll just kind of keep this going. I guess at some point in between now and then, we can probably come up with the next thing. Maybe you know what we should do? We should find something that we can both track together, like an episode or a chapter of something that we're reading or watching. Maybe that would be
Okay.
that would be cool. That way we can keep a steady, thing that people are actually looking forward to. So, oh, y'all seen that episode of One Piece? there's been some really good One Piece stuff coming out lately. So I mean, I don't know if you're up for it, but I mean that'll be a good one on Netflix. It's
Okay. Yeah, the new season of One Piece.
Yeah, the new season that'll be good. I gotta catch up on it too myself. So
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how like they changed like their outfit theme based on the arc, and so
yeah,
now they're in like these like robot suit looking kind of
yeah, yeah, they do that
like they
every
got
arc.
no feet. It's just like one solid like leg or something. You seen that?
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, where are their toes? It's just
Hmm.
one little tube. It's a tube
Yeah,
foot.
one too.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah. I mean, if you're up for it, now I can take a shot at an episode or two and just kind of you know see where we're at with that or something.
Okay. Yeah, that'll work.
All right. Well, cool. Well, this is again I am Cartoons here. I am Cartoons channel. Um, you'll see me streaming every Monday, Wednesday. Oh wow, excuse me. Sorry. Let me try that again. You'll see me streaming every Monday and Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Every other week I've been switching it up. I've been doing my Philandroids episode 2. I've been working on that this week. Next week I'll be working on Econ. That's my client project I've been working on here lately. So Monday, Wednesday at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, and then on Saturdays we'll be doing our Let's Talk streams about manga, anime, and just whatever comes up. We might need to do our relationship talk thing at some point too. We got to start that up at some point. I watched another Pop the Balloon about
Oh
the
my goodness. Yo, those are wild. Ugh,
yeah.
wow.
Um, I watched one today, the Toxic Pop the Balloon. It's a parody of like Pop the Balloons, all comedy, being silly and stuff. So maybe we'll have to do that one at some point. But yeah, Freddie, anything you want to say before we take off?
No, just yeah, just come check out the channel, Closeted Anime. Again, it's more skewed towards a lot of my shorts, highlighting anime fights, fight scenes. Um, and I kind of dabble around in going through and highlighting different anime that I have watched or am currently watching. Um, and just, yeah, I get into anything, anime, manga adjacent or related.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. Well, folks, that's all we got for today. And I guess we'll see y'all next week. Take it easy.